A couple of weeks ago, I made a video talking about why I think the one you should not have killed from Ultimate Custom Night is actually the bite victim and not Cassidy. Back then, I believed that there were actually two separate spirits in Ultimate Custom Night, and that the bite victim was the one that you should not have killed, and Cassidy was the vengeful spirit. And when I made that video, I thought the theory was actually pretty strong and had a lot of evidence pointed to it, in my opinion at least. But all that evidence only connected to one part of Ultimate Custom Night, which I soon realized was actually not evidence for the overall theory itself. And that's why in today's theory video, I'm going to be correcting myself and explaining why the bite victim from FNaF 4 is actually not the one you should not have killed.
Let's join in the bench. Don't care if I make a mess. Let's join in the bench. It's what you say, I become obsessed.
I'd first like to mention that I stand by everything in the other video. Old Man Consequences is still Mike, and this is still the bite victim. I still think I'm correct in saying all that. There's kind of just too much evidence pointing to it, and I don't think it can not be the case. But I was wrong in saying that this is the one you should not have killed. And when I say that, you may be thinking, what are you talking about? But it's actually pretty simple. So in this scene, we see this character. I'll just say it's the bite victim. So the bite victim appears in the place you're taken to in FNaF World if you go too deep in the code. Just like in FNaF World, Old Man Consequences is there, but this time his dialogue is much different. Quote, "Come and sit with me a while. Leave the demons to his demons. Rest your own soul. There is nothing else." End quote. After we get that dialogue, we can again move around, but we can also go sink into the lake, which crashes the game. But in FNaF World, instead of it crashing the game, when we sink into the lake, it takes us to a screen where we see this. This image to me seems to indicate Mike holding the bite victim and Elizabeth. In the files of FNaF World, this scene is labeled as Happiest Day, and based on other things I talked about in that other video, Happiest Day must be for the bite victim. That's the biggest reason why I believe that this 8-bit Freddy figure in the Old Man Consequences minigame is the bite victim. But like I said, this does not mean he is the one you should not have killed. After only about a week of believing he was, I started to lose faith in it. Even though I saw evidence for it, there were just a few holes in it. Still, just such as the fact that there's no evidence of there being two separate spirits in Ultimate Custom Night, or the fact that the bite victim was killed by William. Like I said, I don't believe BB5th, so that can't be an explanation, at least for me, but the other explanations I talk about in this video don't make sense to me. The one I saw as the most likely was that the bite victim isn't killed by William, but blames William for his death, seeing as he's been forced to have his birthday at Fredbear's Family Diner, and the fact that the animatronic that killed him was partially his robot and it's in his restaurant. But that's exactly the problem. Under that theory, William didn't kill the bite victim, so he shouldn't really be called the one you should not have killed. And the second one was that maybe William unplugged bite victim's life support, and that's what killed him. But I don't think that's the case since his head was crushed and he probably would have died soon anyway. Also, why would he do that? I know William is not a caring father, but as we see with Elizabeth, he doesn't want his kids to die, so why would he kill the bite victim? So anyways, after I stopped believing the theory, I kind of made up a few excuses saying the one you should not have killed is not the 8-bit Freddy in the Old Man Consequences minigame, but until just recently I had no proof of that. I was just saying it because I didn't want it to be true. But after I took another look at the minigame, the answer shot me in the face. When Old Man Consequences says, "Leave the demon to his demons, rest your own soul," it may seem at first that the demon is referring to William. But that doesn't make sense if you really think about it, because Old Man Consequences is an enemy in Ultimate Custom Night, and obviously this never changes. If he wants the one you should not have killed to relieve their torture on William, why would he contribute to that torture? And you could say that the one you should not have killed is forcing him to, but I don't think so, considering he still has enough freedom to speak out and is still in his own realm too. Plus, I don't think Cassidy is actually, or the one you should not have killed, whatever. I don't think they're actually controlling everybody, forcing them to do things. I think she's just keeping them there, or he, whatever. I think they're just keeping them there, and they're torturing William on their own. I don't think the one you should not have killed is actually forcing them to. Also, as I already established in the last video, Old Man Consequences seems to be Michael Afton, and there's absolutely no reason he wouldn't want to get revenge on William. His whole life after the bite was dedicated to try to make up for his sins with the bite of 83 by stopping William. He would 100% want to torture William. In short, Old Man Consequences is not referring to William when he says the demon. Instead, it's more likely that he's referring to Cassidy. I believe this is the case mostly due to the fact that the bite victim is the one who put the pieces together, so everyone, him included, could have Happy's Day. He wants to set Cassidy free, but Cassidy doesn't want to be free. She's happy torturing William. The bite victim wants her to be free, but since Cassidy doesn't want to be free, Old Man Consequences is telling the bite victim to leave Cassidy be and rest through Happiest Day. This also proves that the bite victim has Happiest Day through the line of rest your own soul, implying the receiver of Happiest Day had something to do with the foundation of Happiest Day, and we know for a fact through FNaF World that the bite victim did exactly that. The pieces were laid for him so he could for him to find so he could set himself and everyone else free. So if the bite victim is not the one you should not have killed, then who is? Simple answer, Cassidy. And I know some people are going to ask why Cassidy would be referred to as a boy, but there's still a few answers to that. Number one, Cassidy is a boy. This one is possible, but it would be kind of pointless since Scott has no reason to change Cassidy's gender. And yeah, the second option is something a lot of people find stupid, but one a lot of people accept. Yeah, it's basically that he is referring to the suit Cassidy is in when it says the one you should not have killed, like referring to the one you should not have killed as a he. It's the theory that that's referring to the suit Golden Freddy rather than Cassidy's spirit herself. For a while I believed it, but as time went on it just started to make less and less sense. And I think the next two options are a lot more likely. Though I should mention this argument is still kind of valid considering the puppet is referred to as a male even though she's possessed by a girl, or P's possessed by a girl I guess, so Ultimate Custom Night does refer to some spirits by their animatronic gender. But that's also in the menu, and I think referring to the one you should not have killed by the animatronic instead of the spirit is a little weird considering it's literally titled the one you should not have killed. It's not like William killed the animatronics, did he? He killed the kids. The next option is that Cassidy's gender doesn't matter. In the voice listing for the one you should not have killed, or technically the vengeful spirit, Scott specifically stated that the vengeful spirit's voice should work as either a boy or a girl. This implies that their gender doesn't matter and they could be either. This could imply that referring to the one you should not have killed as he could just be a placeholder instead of saying something like them, which could make some fans believe there's multiple ones you shouldn't have killed even though it says the one, but considering some of the theories the FNaF fandom has come up with, including some of my old theories that were completely terrible, I wouldn't be surprised if some people believed it and misinterpreted it. Also, referring to them as she could also narrow it down a little bit too much, since there's only one spirit that's a girl, that we know for a fact is a girl, which is Chica. So that could expose that Cassidy is certainly a girl, or it could cause too much confusion that Susie is the one you should not have killed, which is clearly not the case. But even this is a bit of a stretch, since, as I said, this would imply the spirit could be either gender, which means they could be a boy, but like I said before, there's no reason for Scott to change Cassidy's gender. So that leads me to the final explanation. But before I explain this, I want to warn you because this will involve spoilers for the newest Fazbear Frights epilogue from Fazbear Frights Book 10. So consider yourself warned and only continue if you know what happens or if you don't care about spoilers. So here we go. In what is as of now the newest and in my opinion best epilogue in the Fazbear Frights series, we get more information about Eleanor. We find out she is possessed by a little girl named Renelle. She told us before that her name was Renelle, even though she was Eleanor, but yeah, we find out that when she was a kid, she was named Renelle, and she was a girl with curly black hair. Already that sounds familiar, right? Andrew also has curly black hair. You can see where I'm going, right? And you might think that's kind of weak evidence, it's just hair, but there's something else. This epilogue tells us that Eleanor is actually the one who infected all the animatronics that we saw throughout the entire Fazbear Frights series. She was the cause of it all. But wait a minute, we've been told since Epilogue 4 that the one who caused all of that was actually Andrew. And it's actually confirmed that it was Andrew at the end of the 4th epilogue, since Jake can sense the object that Andrew infected by looking through Andrew's mind. But now we're being told it was Renell? That signifies that maybe Andrew, well, doesn't exist. Let's think back to the 4th epilogue, the one that introduces Andrew properly. Here's a quote from Jake's introduction with Andrew. Quote, "Oh hi," Jake said. "I'm Jake. Who are you?" "What's it to you?" I was just being friendly." Jake remembered learning that the way to deal with kids like this was to let them be as tough as they wanted to be. "Sorry, I'm Andrew." The child's voice was rough. He didn't sound like he was saying his name. It sounded like he was throwing down a challenge. End quote. That's pretty weird, isn't it? Notice how he kind of stalls before actually saying his name, almost as if he's trying to think of one on the spot or something, or trying to remember something. And it not sounding like he was saying his name is also a huge red flag for me. So, if Andrew is the one who infected all the animatronics previously, but Eleanor is the one who infected all the animatronics previously, it seems pretty likely that they're the same character, at least in my opinion. It could also imply that Cassidy is present inside Circus Baby during Sister Location, or maybe, and in my opinion more likely, the bite victim is. As I've said previously, certain parts of the bite victim and Cassidy connect to Andrew and Jake respectively, especially Andrew and Cassidy, but certain parts of their roles here are swapped, so it's possible that instead of Cassidy being inside Baby, the bite victim is. Holy sh**, that was a weird sentence, god damn it. Anyways, it does make sense in a certain way, since Eleanor only appeared in the Stitch Wraith stories directly after Andrew disappears. And also note that Andrew didn't want to fix everything, which would make a lot of sense in the context of Andrew being Renell. And it also would make sense of them being a version of Circus Baby too, since Baby in the game starts off by gaining our trust and then betrays us and becomes our enemy. And that would make a lot of sense. If Andrew really is Renell, then that would mean Andrew started off gaining Jake's trust and later betrays him. You may still be wondering, how could Andrew be Renell? Well, I think Renell was the body inside Golden Freddy in the new kid, and I think Andrew's projection in the Man in Room 1280 is just that, a projection. It could just be that Renell is a girl and projected herself, disguised herself, as Andrew. This could be similar to the situation in Sister Location where Circus Baby uses Elizabeth's voice in the private room to try getting Mike to trust her. In the 4th epilogue, it's explicitly stated that Andrew sounded like someone Jake used to know at school. It's a really weird detail because Andrew, or Renell if my theory is to be believed, died in the missing children's incident around 30 or 40 years before Jake was even born, considering Jake appears in Fetch when he's 4 years old, and Fetch is confirmed to be in, like, modern times, like, later in the future by the fact that phones exist. And Jake is 9 in the real Jake, meaning it takes place 5 years after Fetch. So is it possible that Renell disguised herself as Andrew, or at least with Andrew's voice, to help gain Jake's trust? It would make a lot of sense, and it would fill in that plot hole of Jake recognizing Andrew's voice. And so it could be similar in the games where Cassidy projects herself as a male character during Ultimate Custom Night, and that could explain why the one you should not have killed is referred to as a male in Ultimate Custom Night, as well as why they have a male face. Any one of these 4 options could work fine, but some more than others. I personally think the projection theory is the most likely, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Impulse7 out, and peace.